For the record, my name is Tom Coburn. I'm a citizen of the state of Oklahoma. I served in the U.S. Senate for 10 years, left 2 years early because I became convinced we're not going to see our problem solved in Washington. And all you have to do is look at Washington today and the polarization of both parties. My first 2 years in the Senate, I offered about 160 amendments. I had 127 of them passed. The last 2 years I was in Washington, 3 amendments were offered in the United States Senate. That's just the superficial symptoms of what the real problem is. Our country was designed to accentuate freedom and responsibility. And our founders recognized 4 basic principles for us to be successful. And because of those 4 basic principles were enlivened in the populace, what we saw was the greatest, most powerful generation ever come to man. Was our beginning imperfect? Absolutely. Did we have conflict over that imperfection? Yes. But with the Civil Rights Acts and the additional amendments, what happened is we solved a grievous error that couldn't be solved at our founding. But today we lack, in a great many ways, the 4 key characteristics that our founders thought were important. And they recognized those as being important because they looked at every other republic that had ever existed. And they knew that all of those had failed over fiscal issues. So what were those 4 principles? Those 4 principles were virtue first. You can't have a free society when you undermine virtue at every angle, at every corner. And that's exactly what we've done through the overreach of federal courts in our country. The second is a limited government. We have anything but a limited federal government. The 65% that the Senator referred to, of your own tax dollars that are controlled by Washington, are mandated through rules and regulations in that Constitution by people who were never elected to anything, federal bureaucrats. They actually tell your schools what to do. You don't get to decide. The federal government gets to, because you take federal education money. The third area is the rule of law. And if you look around our country and see how that's being diminished and not upheld and not respected, and what the viewpoint is of younger people in our country, what you will see is we are failing on that point. Whether it be following the law on marijuana, we now have 12 states that pass that, but it's still against the law of the federal. So why don't we just take it off the books rather than make the states complicit in violating federal statutes? And yet we're not enforcing laws. So if you have laws on the books you don't enforce, then you also undermine the rule of law because it doesn't mean anything. And then finally is economic freedom. This country led the world for 201 years as the leader in economic freedom. And that's defined by the ability to resource yourself with your own energy, intellect, and pride and go accomplish something that benefits you and those that are with you. We're now number 20 in the world. And when you go back and mine into why we're number 20, it's called regulation. It's not just federal, it's state too. There's all sorts of roadblocks that keep people from actually progressing and raising their own well-being. So at the end of 10 years in the U.S. Senate, I looked around and I said, how are we going to solve these problems? And I didn't see a solution, and I don't see a solution today. Whether it's the president we have or the Congress we have, both Senate, it's not partisan. It's an actual failure to govern. And so I left early because I thought we ought to be fixing the real problems. As a physician, I was trained to treat disease, not symptoms. And what we see Washington doing, whether it be our Congress, our executive branch, or the agencies, is they treat symptoms. And it's all about correctness, not with common sense, but to protect the bureaucracies and the institutions. Not to do what's in the best long-term interest of our country. And amazingly, our founders knew this would happen. If you go back and read what they read and what John Locke proposed, Montesquieu, and all the knowledge that they put forth as they developed our Constitution, in all the writings you see, if in fact we violate these principles, our republic won't survive. And so we now have $144 trillion in unfunded liabilities that's going to fall on our children and my grandchildren and their children. And what that really means to the millennial generation, if there's any millennials here, that's $60,000 in a decrease in standard of living over the next 50 years for your generation. Part of that's Generation X too, but then it's the generations that follow. Because we've not been responsible to do the best thing for our country in the long term. So the solution to that is very simple and very straightforward. Our founders put it in our Constitution and said, when you get to this point, it's time for you to exercise, or we think the power should be the strongest anyway, in the state legislature, your responsibility to fix this errant ways of our central government. And so we have the ability to do that. And so my question is if you don't want to do that, either you don't think we have any serious problems in our country that are going to impact our future and make us a second-rate power, because that's where we're headed. Just a side note, 10 years ago, the bid-to-cover ratio on U.S. debt was 3.8. Today, it lies at 1.58. As soon as that's at 1 to 1, we won't be able to borrow money, no matter what interest rate we pay. So we